Alright, so y'all go ahead and do the factoring and the math knowledge question for today. Pause the video, and then once everyone is finished, you can unpause the video and I'll go over the correct answers. So for the factoring, we're going to do remove, replace, reduce. So you're going to do 9 times 16, which is going to give you x squared plus 24x plus 144. From there, you're going to replace the 9 and factor it. I like to do these at the same time. If you need to factor it before you replace it, you can. But I hope you're starting to get to where you kind of shorten this a little bit. And then these will both reduce to 3x plus 4, which you can also write as just 3x plus 4 squared. So either one of those is fine. For the math knowledge question, the bottom can has 25, and then we want to know how many is in the top row. And there are 10 rows, so that's 1 row, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and row 10 will have 16. So that would be your answer. Okay. We're going to be looking at lesson 35 today. Change in coordinates, the name of a number, and the distance formula. So the change in coordinates part is kind of weird, the way they explain it. The name of a number you might have done in Algebra 2. You may or may not remember it, but we did it in Algebra 2. And then the distance formula we did in geometry. So hopefully you remember it as well. So the change in coordinates is the weird one, but the other two you should have no trouble with after this lesson. So whenever they're talking about changing coordinates, they say we use a two-step procedure for determining the change in coordinates. You start with the final coordinate, and then you subtract the initial coordinate. That's all you do. It's just kind of weird. Like, I don't understand why they feel the need to have a specific part of the lesson devoted to this. But it's the directed distance, because it tells you whether you went forwards or backwards, whether it was positive or negative. So we're given these points, and they want to know what is represented by -3 minus -4. So this is P1, x value, and this is P2's x value. So this is our final minus the initial. So that means that this is the change for part A. It's the change in x coordinate going from P2 to P1, because you started with P2 and you ended with P1. And then on this one, this is our P2 y value, and then 2 is our P1 y value. So it is representing the change in your y coordinate from P1 to P2. So that's your answer. Again, it's kind of strange the way they write that, but that's what you would do. For this one, see if y'all can figure out it by yourself, and then unpause the video and I'll go over it for you. For A, it's going to be the change in -4 and -3 are your x values, so it's the change in your x coordinate. And then we always start here. -3 is P1, so from P1 to P2. And then for part B, it's going to be the change in -2 and -5 are your y coordinates. So it's a change in your y coordinate. And we're going from this one, so that's P2, to P1. And so that's your answer. So that's what you put on those. Again, it's kind of strange the way they ask you to do it, but that's all you have to do there. Now we're going to move on to the name of a number. What is a number whose graph is 2/3 of the way from 3 to -7? So I've got a little formula that you might want to write down for this one. So what is the number? That's going to be what we're looking for. You're going to do C1 plus F, and then times C2 minus C1. So this is the directed distance between your 2 points, because your final minus your initial. And then whatever the change is there, you're going to multiply it by the fractional distance you're looking for, and then add it to your original point. So that's the formula I would focus on memorizing for these, and then all you have to do to get your number is plug it into your formula. So our C1 here is 3, the fraction is 2/3, and then we started at 3 and we end at -7. So -7 minus 3. And then from there, all you have to do is simplify it. So 3 plus 2/3 times -10, which is 3 plus -20 over 3. So this would be 9 over 3 minus 20 over 3, basically, which is -11 over 3. So that would be your answer. Okay, now we're going to look at another example. If y'all feel like y'all can do this one by yourself, go ahead and pause the video and try it, and then I'll go over it. So your formula is n equals C1 plus F, C2 minus C1. So your C1 is -4, your F is 3 over 7, your C2 is 9, and then minus a -4. So you add those. So you end up with -4 plus 3 over 7 times 13. So -4 plus 39 over 7. This would be -28 over 7 plus 39 over 7, which would give you a positive 11 over 7 for your answer. So hopefully some of y'all got that right. If so, that's awesome. We're going to look at one more of these. So y'all see if you can do this one by yourself, and then once you've tried it, y'all can unpause the video and I'll go over it for you. So our formula is going to be C1 plus F, and then C2 minus C1. So our C1 is 3 1/8, which if you write as an improper fraction is going to be 25 over 8. And then our fraction is 5 over 11. And then our C2, if you write it as a fraction, an improper fraction, you'll get -29 over 8. And then minus 25 over 8. So when you combine these two fractions, 29 and 25 together make -54 over 8. And then you can multiply, and you'll get minus 5 times 54 is 270, and then over 88. And then to make this 8 into an 88, you're going to multiply by 11. So 25 times 11. If I haven't shown you the multiplication for multiplying by 11, I'm going to show it to you real quick. When I'm multiplying by 11, and you can verify this with your calculator pretty quickly, you're going to take your two digits and split them. And then if you add 2 plus 5, that's going to give you a 7 there. And if you multiplied 25 times 11, you should get 275. Not sure if y'all have seen that before, but just split them apart. Like if I wanted to do 36 times 11, you'd put 3 and leave a space and 6, and then 3 plus 6 is 9. So that's how that would work. We'll do 78 times 11 real quick. So 7, leave a space, and 8. You're not going to put a 15 here. That 1 is going to go to that 8, that 7, and make it 858. And if you multiply 78 times 11, you get 858. Anyway, in case you didn't know, that may be an easy way for you to multiply by 11. So if you subtract, you should get 5 over 88. Okay, so that's how you do the name of a number. It's just looking for the distance between two numbers. Okay, so now we're going to look at our distance formula. You've probably seen the distance formula. You may be looking at that going, wait a minute, I thought it was x2 minus x1. Well, that would also work, or that one, or that one. Technically, there are 4 forms for the distance formula. You just need to take your x values and subtract them, and then square them. And then take your y values and subtract them and square them. You don't have to have them x2 minus x1 and y2 minus y1. That does not matter. So any of them work. Pick one that you like. It does not matter. Okay, so we're going to use the distance formula to write an expression that gives the distance between these 2 points. So it doesn't matter which form you use. So you could either do x minus 4 squared plus y minus a negative, it's going to become a positive 2. Or you could do 4 minus x squared plus y plus 2 squared. Or you could do x minus 4 squared plus negative 2 minus y squared. Or you could do 4 minus x squared plus negative 2 minus y squared. Any of those would work. So when you go to check your answer on these, you're going to get one of those 4. They're not going to give you all 4 of them. So just, you have to know that your answer may or may not look exactly like what the book has, but any 4 of these would be an acceptable answer. So we're going to use this in a few lessons, but right now they're just getting you to practice writing it with the distance formula. So your homework tonight is going to be lesson 35, but you get to omit number 12 and 28. You also are going to have a trig quiz whenever you take lesson 37. So the day you're coming in to do lesson 37, you're going to take a trig quiz before that lesson. It's going to be 5 minutes, and it's going to be based on your unit circle. There are going to be 24 questions, and it's going to be like the cosine of 50, not 50, the cosine of 45, the tangent of 270, all of those numbers that are on your unit circle. There are 24 of them. So it's going to be half of the unit circle. You don't know which 24 though, so you need to practice all of your unit circle. And then once that 5 minutes is up, that's all you get. So if you don't know them very well, then you're not going to get very far on the quiz. You do have to make sure your signs are right. So you need to practice your all students take calculus. Again, people either do really well on these or they bomb them. And it's either because they didn't study, or they mess up the signs, or they get 30 and 60s backwards, but you have to practice these for sure. So make sure to do your homework and study for your quiz.